Fluff City Media presents the $2 Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another jam-packed edition of the $2 Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, here with my colleague, Uncle Buck, Drew Gann, again, shock that he's here tonight, but dadgummit, he's here again. We are in the midst of just crisis mode. We've got baby on the way. We got crazy girls on the side. Like, what is happening in the world today? I don't know. Welcome to the show, Uncle Buck.
We totally have two ends of the spectrum going on here. You have got my 6'5" best friend dealing with crazy exes, and his 5'5" me is dealing with a wife that's about to have a fourth kid. So I mean, we're talking about totally different ends of the spectrum here. But Rusty, it has been a week. You know, last week we talked about how we did not think the show was going to happen, and if you thought last week was in the air, this week was this is a miracle. Let me tell you. And I'm going to get to it with my best of the week, but it is, before we get into that, it is a great day to be alive. It's a great day to podcast. You can see now my blinds are kind of closed, but this is the first ever $2 Sports Show that has ever been recorded in which the sunlight is beaming into our homes.
Yeah,
because
we
we're always
air on the
night
other
guys.
side.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it is currently 5:01 God's time, and
I'll say this,
we're
Drew.
recording the show.
I had a great excuse to leave. You know, you've got kids, so you've always got an excuse that you may have to dip out and go get a sick kid from school
Right.
or daycare, right? Like as a single adult, I don't have that.
Right.
But friends of the podcast know that I just got myself a little puppy. You can see her over my shoulder over there. Shelby's taking a nap on the couch, and she had a vet appointment today, which is not my beef of the week, although it should be, because I was in that office for like 8 minutes, and it cost me $112. I am in the wrong line of work.
Oh,
but
you are. Their billables are so much better than yours.
Oh, 100%. But I will say that recording at 5 o'clock with the sunlight out gives me a great excuse. Shelby got me off work early. I can record early, enjoy a beverage early, and call it a night, man. I'm grateful to be here. That's for sure.
This $2 Sports Show brought to you by Wiseacre Brewery and Diet Mountain Dew.
Hey, shout out, no free shout outs. Pay us.
Yeah. So I'll get to my best of the week, and it's the reason why I have to absolutely drink. The hardest thing I can drink right now is Diet Mountain Dew, because in T-minus 2 hours and 58 minutes, your boy and his bride are headed to the hospital to have a baby. So
let's go.
We had our doctor's appointment today. I say our, I mean, it's my baby. It's the doctor's visits are totally her because there ain't anything I can do in there except say, "You all right, hon?" You know. So we had our doctor's appointment today, and he was like, "Yeah, well, you know, everything looks good." So we've made it to 39 weeks and some change here. It's like, it's up to you when you're ready to have the kid. My wife just looked at him. It's like, I'm ready now, with like the eyes that said, "Don't even consider even waiting till tomorrow. We're having this baby." And so he said, "Okay, come back at 8 o'clock." So I get on the road and I call Rusty and was like, "Can you squeeze one in here?" And it just happened that instead of getting off at 6 like you normally do, you were off at 4:15. And so here we are, the $2 Show before dark.
Yeah, how about that? And shout out to Haley. I've been very strict in my instructions about when this baby can be born. So shout out to Haley, your doctor there in Tupelo. Like, I appreciate y'all adhering to my guidelines. Because of that, Banks will be loved and your family forever favored because y'all listened.
Yeah, Dr. Young in Tupelo at OBGYN and Associates is a big fan of the $2 Sports Show.
Oh, yeah. Apparently wanted to make sure that we got this show in so they can listen.
This is what he was thinking.
That he can listen to this show tomorrow and not miss it. And so that's clearly what he was thinking about. When Drew sent me that text that they were headed to the doctor, because I texted him, I said, "Hey, man, what's the plan?" And he said, "We're in the doctor's parking lot now." And I sent him the gift from 30 Rock where he's drinking the water and nervously splashing everywhere. And I'm like, "Oh, buddy." And I said at work today, I said, "Yeah, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to record tonight, what it's going to look like. You know, Drew's having a baby. Well, Haley's doing all the work. Drew's along for the ride."
Yeah. For some reason I have to be there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Wild.
But yeah, that's my best of the week. Is that hopefully this time tomorrow I will have a firstborn son, or my first son that is born into this family.
There you go. First biological son.
Yeah. I wanted to make it a little bit more parent, happily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, because it feels like the other one's like it had to be there. But we love BB.
Considered a step kid. He's one of us. He is 100%. It's inseparable as any kid that we have or will ever have.
100%.
But it's like this is the first one that right now will have the GAN name.
There you go.
Fair. Okay.
Fair.
I will make a request though to my co-host, Buckets. When we were sitting in the waiting room, I'd gotten a text message from the Memphis Grizzlies. I was signed up for those deal text messages or whatnot, and they've got $9 tickets, $9.01 tickets. Okay,
I saw that
for tomorrow and Saturday. And so, because our other son Braxton's birthday is the 3rd on Sunday, and so she says, "Well, if we don't have this baby, maybe we go to one of those games for his birthday." And so, because she's my wife and she knows what I care about, she immediately looked up the promotion schedule.
Of course.
And Friday night in the FedEx Forum, they're giving away Ja Morant Hawaiian shirts. And I just think that Rusty has to go to the Grizzlies game when you guys are listening to this tonight, Friday night, and bring me home a Ja Morant Hawaiian shirt.
Well,
I also know you have a contact there, a string you could pull or two.
I do. Here's the deal. I'm heading to Corinth tomorrow. My plan was to be there for in and around the birth of my future other nephew again, but I have 3 blood nephews who might be interested in going to a Grizzlies game tomorrow night. Stay
Which
tuned,
one of them
listeners.
doesn't get a shirt? I mean, they're going to be adult shirts. Finn won't remember it.
I was about to say,
Finn
Finn
keep that in the back of his
down.
drawer. Yeah,
Finn, I know you're listening, buddy. You can just share it with Time Rider, man. No big deal.
I mean, I love you, Finn. But if you by the time you're old enough to wear this shirt, Ja will have may have retired.
Yeah.
So I just feel like
it
gets its money's worth with me.
I might be buying some tickets tonight to a Grizzlies game to take my nephews. I'll be in Corinth anyway. Like I said, Shelby's got an appointment down there tomorrow. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
I'm not going to be able to hold you to it because it's not going to be on my mind tomorrow. I can tell you that. Our daughter was born 2/2/22. It happened to be the night that the Grizzlies were playing the Knicks on TNT in Madison Square Garden. So in the crappy little operating room TVs, I was able to watch the Grizzlies, and they won in Madison Square Garden, and it was perfect. Tomorrow night's game, because the Grizzlies are terrible, is not on national television, and so I guess I'm just going to have my iPad pulled up while I'm standing beside my wife pushing, just watching the Grizzlies.
Like, good job, honey. Oh, come on.
You're doing great. Dang it, watch Jake LaRavia in the game.
That's it. You're doing great. I'm talking to you, not Gigi, I promise.
So, Rusty, what's your best of the week?
Drew, I talked about this on the Daily Grind when I was on it with Luke on Tuesday. We've talked about it on the show before. I'm the wrong kind of doctor, right? Like, I came out with the title of a doctor and the debt of a doctor, but not the pay range of a doctor. I make a comfortable living. I'm not complaining too much.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Better not.
But I found my way out of student loan debt.
Oh, really?
I have.
Oh, what'd you do? Did you sell a kidney?
Not yet. I've only got one left. That's what I did last time. No, just it's a joke. It's called humor.
Oh,
it's dark humor, but it's there. Anyway,
okay,
we're devolving here. So it involves shaming my family, but beggars can't be choosers. We got to get out of student loan debt. So at the Super Bowl this year, there was a streaker, and he bet $500 that there would be a streaker at the Super Bowl, and that bet hit. Because he was the one who streaked.
Stroke.
It's 1,000 stroked. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, he's stroked.
He strokes. That's it. And he had a $1,000 fine to get out of jail. Spent the night in jail. $1,000 fine to get out. My man's bet hit for $374,000. Drew, I could pay off my
that brings
loans.
no shame to your family. I'll be honest with you.
I could pay off my condo at the beach. I could pay off all kind of, and then it'll get into my my beef here in a minute. It'll also help me in that. But $374K, I will show my buns, and he wasn't even all the way naked. Like I could just strip down to like just some underwear and run across the field, right? Like it still counts, right? Like half streaking is streaking.
You got to think that the company that took his bet invalidated it, right?
So what I've read is that because he went around bragging about it, he's not going to be able to cash it out.
See, criminals are so stupid.
That's what I'm saying.
Never,
yeah.
You know, as Charles Barkley once said, don't commit crimes with checks.
That's it, man. I wouldn't do it in a horror movie because I'm just going to get in the car and leave. Like I'm running away. I'm not an idiot. And then I'd make a killer criminal because if I did something like this, your boy's keeping his mouth shut. Not a soul's going to learn about it. There'll be signs.
Could be a hatchet murderer right now. I don't know. He's never told me.
But yeah, man, like there would be signs, but I wouldn't tell nobody.
There's a bloody hatchet, but he hasn't admitted to it.
That's it, man. He ain't got no more student loan debt, but he ain't admitted to cashing out any kind of big bets. But anyway, that is my best of the week. Is I have found my way out of immense student loan debt.
Almost. You know, tax time.
I got to wait a calendar year.
Yeah, you'll wait till Super Bowl 59. So, yeah, we just tax money just come in on Tuesday.
Oh, you got there? Yeah.
Oh man, let me tell you, we paid off so much stuff. It feels great. Oh, right now I'm just shopping. This is a sick cycle that I'm in now. But
well, it sucks about my tax structure because of my partnerships with my old company that I still have, and that's a long conversation for a stiffer drink. I won't get I have to file for an extension because I don't get my K1s until September, and then I don't get my return until like October, November.
Oh,
and I usually just roll that over anyway, but it's never a ton. But yeah, so enjoy it.
Yeah, I will. I'll have another kid by next year.
So no.
I now know what all you people are doing this for.
I have cracked the code, he says. I have cracked the code.
Yeah. Anyways, my beef of the week. Have you ever dealt with somebody who just thinks they know better than you or they think you're an idiot? I dealt with one of those yesterday at work. So without getting into the weeds, because my job is something that not many people can like associate with, and I could get into like naming equipment that I'm dealing with. Anyways, I had this piece of equipment that failed that I'd never worked on before. Keep in mind, if you're a long listener of this show, I was trained by a man named Danny to ultimately take his job for him to retire but stay on retainer to help me throughout these processes that I'm in now, handling it by myself. Then Danny tragically passed away like 2 weeks before he retired. And so all of my work, day-to-day work, seems to be just me figuring out solutions to problems that I have never seen before. So I had one of these problems on Tuesday, and it rolled into Wednesday. So I called, they've got technical support. Everybody's got technical support, and they just people that are unhappy with their jobs because they thought they were going to be doing something cool, but instead they're answering phones all day long, talking to people who need help. I've worked that job. That job drove me back to college, being a telemarketer,
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting on there and I was like, listen, he starts like, all right, try this. And I was like, all right, let's rewind for a second. You're telling me to do this, but I don't know what these things are you're saying. So just dumb this all the way down. And so I guess we got
off
off
to me like I'm 5.
Yeah. Because he thought I was just a plumb idiot. Okay. And so I get in here and I'm just like, all right, this isn't working. What he's telling me to do is not working. And I realize he doesn't know what he's talking about. And so then he makes the comment, and I'm working in a transformer. There are, we've killed it. So it's not hot, like hot electrified,
Mm-hmm.
And so I know what I'm doing around hot stuff, or know how to kill it. I know how to be safe. And he just looks at me, and I guess because the questions I asked him about this particular thing that he does for a living, he was like, So I don't know if you've ever been in a substation before. You never worked around electricity before, but that right there is probably hot. You probably need to take one of our substation courses. And before he could even get out of the sentence, and I was frustrated, and the guy that's helping me was just, his eyes got wide because he was just like, I started shaking my head. I was like, hold on 1 second. I said, just don't even finish that sentence. I said, I'm asking you for help with what you specialize in. Don't try to tell me what I specialize in. Like, I am good. Like, you just tell me how to fix this problem with this component, and I'll worry about not dying by electricity. It's kind of the first thing they teach me, okay?
Right.
Like, but anyways, just it boils down. Everybody in their life has to deal with somebody who just thinks that they know everything, and and I don't know if it can go down. I don't know if because I sound like a redneck, everybody from like, this guy was from Missouri, probably thinking I'm some bumpkin, because the only people they interview from Mississippi after a tornado doesn't have any tooth in their head.
Not one.
And so it's just like, I was like, hold on 1 second. Like, I may sound like a dummy and I may say some dumb things, but I can promise you I'm not about to grab something that's got 14,000 volts on it. Okay. let's just push that aside for a second. Like, and I'm sure you deal with it at your work when a patient comes in and they're just like, are you sure this is supposed to work? And you're just like, hang on a second.
No, my favorite is they say I Googled my symptoms or I looked it up on WebMD, or my personal favorite is I saw this on Instagram and they said it would work. And I'm like, well, why'd I pay all this money for my degree?
I tell you, my wife does that, and it's not about important stuff. But she's like, I've done research, and I'm like, what kind of research have you done, honey? She's like, I Googled it.
I love that.
Honey, quit calling that research, okay?
Yeah, that's not research. But the difference there, Drew, is when people talk to me like an idiot, most of the time they're right. They're talking to an idiot.
Yeah. But the one time I can stop them in their tracks and say, shut up, I know I'm right. I'm taking that opportunity for myself.
I'm waiting for that moment. I'm still waiting on my moment.
When they go too far into something I actually know about. It's like that episode of The Office when Michael just happens to be right and Oscar be wrong that one time
about China.
That's that you get that opportunity just every once in a while, if ever. And at that time, you've got to capitalize on it. And I feel comfortable. I capitalized on it. I told that guy, shut up quick.
You were quick with it, man. You were sitting on go.
Anyway, what's your beef for the week?
Oh, my beef of the week is expensive. It's not just the expensiveness of Shelby's vet appointments or expensive as grocery is, but I have a decision to make. I've been driving the same truck since I bought it.
Are you selling it?
I don't know. Since March of 2016. No. I love that truck.
Drew knows
I love that truck. It's my pride and joy.
And I remember how you felt when you gave up Old Blue.
I didn't want to.
I know this is how you're feeling with this one.
I am even more so because like Old Blue was given to me by my parents. Like, it was a gift, and I'm very grateful for that. And I love my parents for that. They bought me a 2005 Ram 1500 when I graduated high school, and Drew knows, like, I loved that truck. Drove it for 248,000 miles on it. And quick funny story, Gerald Wagman there at Corinth Exhaust in Corinth has been our family mechanic for years, and he called me one day when he was working on it. My converter was going out. I had a couple things going wrong. He said, Rusty, come by my office. I want to talk to you. I'm like, ooh, that's not good. That's expensive.
Principal?
And so I go down there after work. My granddaddy takes me down there, and I'm like, hey, Gerald, how's it going? And he's like, listen, I've been fixing your cars for years now, and I think of you and your brother like sons because I've known you all your life. I'm like, yeah, that's nice, man. I appreciate that. He said, so I'm going to talk to you like you were my son. I'm like, Gerald, man, that means the world. I appreciate it. He goes, sell the damn truck. I'm tired of fixing it. This thing's a piece of junk. I was like, yes, sir. Because what you don't know about me, listeners, a few of you know this. I am 36. I'll be 37 in just a couple of weeks. And I've had 3 trucks my entire life. I am not a guy who needs multiple vehicles. I had a 94 Ford Bronco. I had an 05 Ram, and I've got this 14 Ram. I don't like buying new cars. They're expensive. Right. I'm tighter with my money. I don't want to like spend it on things. And so I'm in a dilemma. The silver one out here, it's got 202,000 miles on it. and it bounces more than a souped up Impala in Compton when I hit about 70 miles an hour. It's just got a vibration in the front end. And so I took it by a shop and was talking to the guy there, and he's like, yeah, it happens in Rams. The front ends go out. By the time we get parts and labor and everything done, it's going to be, $3,000-$4,000. And I was like, I about fell off the stool. I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, man. And like, honestly, like this truck's probably worth, a little bit more than that. So you got, I can do it, but you also may want to consider. And I'm like, don't say it. Don't say it. Consider a new truck. Like that's most guys' dreams. And I get that. So I got a lot of listeners out there I know that are probably like, why don't you go buy a new truck? But like, I have not. That truck's been paid off for 5 years. I had a truck note in 5 years. I bought the truck and paid it down as quick as I could because I don't like having a truck note. I don't want another one. So I have a decision to make. Do I drop, $3,000-$4,000 on this truck, or do I use that towards a new one or newish or newer one? Because I ain't buying a brand new one.
Well, let me ask you this. Can the front end, say worst case scenario, $4,000 it costs you to replace your front end.
Yeah.
Will it get you another 100,000 miles out of it? That I think that's where you have to justify it. Because yes, it may only be worth, first off, if he says that thing's only worth $7,000, he's wrong. You can get that. He's absolutely wrong. He's wanting to tell you that and then try to buy it for that price. I've shopped for vehicles lately, and I've shopped for trucks within the last couple of years. They're expensive.
It's got 202,000 miles on it. I could still probably get 10 to 12 out of it if I decided to sell it. But like out of principle, I kind of want to fix the daggone thing and drive it some more. See how many miles I get on it. Because again, like I love this truck. It's gotten me to Myrtle Beach and back. It's gotten me all across the Southeast. Like that truck has been through a lot. I called Drew and it really angry one night after a tense moment when I was in Myrtle Beach driving around, and like it's just been it's been there for me through a lot of things in life, and I'm not ready to get rid of it, nor am I ready for another like a car payment.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm not sentimental for possessions like that. My wife is that person when things mean something. Like there's always a story behind things, and for me, it's all about, like I said on the podcast last week, it's all about getting the job done. And it's what's best for me, what works best for me. And I'm gonna tell you this from experience as somebody who just got another car note and just paid another one off, is if you can get by without a car note for as long as possible. I mean, without spending, you don't want to spend $3,000 every year.
Yeah.
But shoot, I'd try to stay without a car note if it were me.
Again, and it's not so much the sentimental part. Like that part's kind of cool. I'm not a guy like I God love my brother.
I'm not either.
And my daddy, and they're those people that are just they got to have vehicles all the time. Daddy's always wanting something new. Clark's in the process of looking for something new. Always, he's always wheeling and dealing. Me, I just want to drive until it just plumb falls apart. Get another one, do the same thing. Like I'm trying to get through life with the fewest amount of car payments as I could possibly have. Because this Ram was the first car payment I've ever had, and I really am trying to avoid having another one for as long as I can.
Well, there's two types of people in this world. It's people that just accept the fact that they're going to have a car note forever, and those are the people that'll go buy something new and then sell it at 100,000 miles when it still has value, and then just go get something new, and the cycle just keeps repeating itself. And there's the people that I was raised by, and that is somebody who says it's better to have no car payment than a nice car. So
I watched
it only goes one of two ways.
Yeah, and I watched my parents growing up, and I love my parents, shout out mom and dad, but like financial decisions were never their strong suit. And so I always said, I'm going to be different. I want to do things different. And I love him. Like my dad, though, he's the kind of guy, if a truck needs some new tires, I need to jack it up, drive another one underneath it. Like, no, just buy the tires, And
not every purchase has to. Yeah.
And so I'm like, look, man, like I'm not going to be that way. I'm trying to go as long as I can in the old silver goat out there and hope that she'll run a little bit longer.
And I have to say, I am bad about, I am a guy that loves bells and whistles. So like I wanted the new van to have, that I'd had a vehicle with heated seats and all that, and I needed that. Like that's my minimum now. I needed the bells and whistles. However, those bells and whistles are fine. And so I still want to pay the sucker off and not have to worry about it forever. I don't need the next bells and whistles, but I needed to have what I had before.
I'm going to go get another quote in Corinth because I can leave it there, probably Gerald's or somewhere down there, let them work on it, and I can drive Daddy's truck for a little bit while we're trying to sell it to come off of it. But I just don't want to get a new truck, man. I just don't want to pay for a new truck. They're expensive, man. I went and looked at one. I went and looked at a little car for Clark, him and Andrea looking for a new car. And there's one here in Martin I went and looked at for him. And there's a couple trucks on the lot. And I looked at them. I'm like, nice looking truck. I looked at the price tag and I was like, not so nice.
I mean, and you know this, but you say you want to sell your truck and say you get offered top dollar for it. Say you got offered $15,000 for it. You take that $15,000 and see what kind of truck you can buy with it. It ain't the same. Like what you got? No,
it ain't the same. And then all I'm doing is putting a down payment on something. And there's the 4 quadrants of car salesman, right? So all they're going to do is move those numbers around to where yes, you have a higher down payment, but then we're going to move some of the warranty and some of the shipping costs around where like you never win in a car deal. I don't care what people say. People brag, I got the best deal out of that car. I worked him for all he's worth. Nah, bruh, you didn't. You might have got it a little bit cheaper. They're still making a ton of money off of you.
Oh, yeah. They're not ever going to sell anything at a loss. You know that. That's why when you go shopping for a car, you have to know exactly how much money you want to spend and then leave if it ever gets any more than that.
That's it. Right. And don't let them because they're going to pull the tricks. They're going to make you sit in the office for 3 hours. And then you're like, well, I've been here long enough. I got to buy it. Or they're going to offer you everything in the world to get you to upcharge or, upgrade this. Or I've got this with this package or whatever. It's all about making money. And shout out to we're on this podcast, on this show. We are fans of people making their money. So get your bag, car salesman. You're just not going to get it from me.
Yeah. My grandma just told me that she's got to try to get out of a deal that she signed with the Ford place, I think in Corinth, where she was, they talked her into like paying for a year's worth of oil changes up front for a discounted price. And it was like $400 or $600, something like that. And I was like, Grandma, that was like, if you only get a deal out of that, if you get your oil changed once a month, like you don't drive that much. You might get 4 oil changes a year.
Shame on that car salesman for selling that to your sweet grandmother. Come on.
No. So, anyways, all right, we are going to get into our second segment where we actually talk about sports. I know there's maybe a couple of you guys still listening here that are wanting to hear about our sports take. So, in segment 2, we're going to get into the Memphis Grizzlies and what has happened since we last talked to you guys. And then we're going to get into some college baseball, some random topics in our third segment. So, stick around. Rusty, take us to break.
Not just the level of individual talent that he plays with, but it's also the level of his mind. We haven't gotten cross-court open shot this year. We haven't seen that pass a lot. Number one, you got to respect him going to the basket. There's a roller. I got to watch the roller. He has the mind to be able to say, I see all of that, and now I see this guy over here. I'm going to get him this open shot. How shifty he is to always be going forward. It's usually side to side. Yeah. His dribble moves are side to side, but going forward. Right. Which is very hard to defend. I just want to get you, as many times can I get you to do this? But for him, it's not here. It is here, which is with are his moves to get down the floor. It's awkward for a defender to try to catch a cadence. You dribble. So now what I do is now when you go put that ball down, I'm going for it. But with him, it's hard for my cadence. But what's my cadence for you? I don't know what it is.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Who do you need to step it up? Outside of David Jones, I think David Jones is David Jones.
I don't think you need him to step it up because he's been performing.
Yeah, he's David Jones. Outside of him, he's fine.
I think Quinterly needs to play better.
In what way? He's facilitating the ball well. What do you, I don't.
To a 12 from the field's not cutting it.
It's not great. It's not great.
And I don't need a runner 3 from the top of the key with 3.5 seconds left.
Is Virginia the game where Jordan Brown is going to cook? Those dudes aren't looking to run the ball.
Cook what? Dude, I thought he was going to have a freaking night. He came out with that fresh cut, lined up. And then literally within the first 15 seconds, missed a wide open layup. Yeah. And then picked up 2 fouls right away.
I feel real lied to because I thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy.
Didn't think it did anything for you. I think we all thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy, and we are getting that in David Jones.
I'm not even getting 20 or 10 minutes out of the guy.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back, everybody. Like Drew said before we went to the break, we are heading into our Memphis Grizzlies talk. If you want to talk more Grizzlies with us, don't forget you can also subscribe to Bluff City Media. Quick shameless plug, $5 a month to be an insider. Check out there. You can talk to us on Discord. There's a ton of other channels as we swap on your screen here. Again, we're learning this spaceship as we go, man. So we play around with it all the time. Hope you all get motion sickness. But sign up, bluffcitymedia.co, be an insider, hang out with us on Discord, hop in some groups and get a lot more talk about the Memphis Grizzlies, Drew, who have gone on a cold snap since we came back last week.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, well, at least 2 out of the 3 we were somewhat competitive, right? Because last week when we recorded, we just coming through the end of the All-Star break. The show dropped on Friday. The Grizz played the Clippers Friday night on the awesome cement-looking court. Looked great. Played good basketball and hung with them. Just kind of ran out of gas late. And then Monday night, I had to hate watch that entire game because I'm sure our listeners saw over at bluffcitymedia.co that I wrote the quick recap of the game. I had to watch that thing and just be miserable, man. And about halfway through the third quarter, I was Googling, can ChatGPT write this recap for me, trying to figure it out. I just want to go to bed. This is awful. And then real quick, last night, played the Timberwolves in a much more competitive game. We were in it until late. Again, we just ran out of steam. Jaren's trying to do everything. And it just almost did. Thanks to some other unlikely heroes who we'll get to here in a minute. But, Drew, it's just not been the best post-All-Star break for the Beale Street Bruins, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's to be expected. This team is down everybody. Yes. You know, we were riding high off of, extremely competitive basketball post-Ja Morant and Desmond Bane and Marcus Smart. We were really competitive for a long time with the young guys, and it was fun to watch, and you won a few. You won more than you thought you would win. But in our last 10, we're 2-8. We're on a 4-game losing streak here. It's just not a really good spot right now. And you're losing games that are encouraging for the future. I get it.
I hate moral victories.
I do too. It still doesn't feel right.
No.
But the games like Minnesota and like the Clippers, that's the games like we've talked about on this show before, to where they just don't really take you seriously.
Yeah.
And then in the fourth quarter, they've managed the whole time to keep it close enough or be close with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies playing their best basketball they can, and they just put the brakes on you, and then they take it seriously for 4 to 6, maybe 8 minutes in the fourth quarter, and then win by double digits. It's happened 2 out of the last 3 games. I told you guys it was going to happen a lot, and it's continuing to happen.
What's
you
annoying?
like to see it is fun for 3.5 quarters to watch it. I mean, I was locked into that T-Wolves game that Clippers game, but I mean, the outcome can't be dependent on whether or not you get enjoyment on watching Grizzlies basketball right now.
Right. And what's annoying about that is if we're full force, like we wrecked Minnesota last night, I think we would wreck them in a 5-7 game series in the playoffs without any trouble. Like we're a better team when we're at full force, because Jaren, like I said in my article last night, Jaren sees red against Minnesota and he clobbers Gobert. He has no time for Cat. Like he works those dudes. Ja usually plays good games against them. Ant had his moments last night. He had 34, played a great game. I mean, Ant does Ant things, but you're right. Like it sucks losing these games, and I'm trying to paint silver linings, right? Like Jordan Goodwin was good last night. Yeah. He had 7 boards, 7 assists. I think he finished with 8 assists, 8 rebounds, no points, but looked in control of the offense. Luke's shot was falling a little bit early. Again, kind of got cold late. Gigi got you 14 off the bench. Lamar Stevens, to me, continues to prove that he is going to be on an NBA roster somewhere. I hope it's in Memphis next year, selfishly, because that guy can hoop. He's just a gamer, man, and he turned it on late. In that Nets game, he scored on 3 straight possessions and got a defensive rebound on 4 straight to start the fourth quarter. I know that because, again, I was hate watching it, me and like the 12 fans that were there for that game. But like we're seeing some cool things in development of these guys that we're kind of belaboring at this point. Just like keep looking ahead, right? Keep looking to 24 and 25. I'm thinking about that an unhealthy amount right now because basketball is so bad in Memphis.
Yeah. And, you just in the back of my mind, and what really kind of puts it in perspective for me is, yes, I am excited to see all these guys. And anytime I get upset like that Brooklyn game, I just turned it off. And anytime I try to, because losses affect me, fans, short for fanatic, and I'm an absolute fanatic with every single possession of every single game that I watch for every single one of the teams that I love. And when I start getting in the dumps, I just remember that outside of Jaren Jackson Jr., Santi Aldama, and Vince Williams, and Gigi
and Luke.
Yeah, but Luke's been in and out,
I guess that's fair. Yeah.
These guys are not going to play roles. The rest of the guys are not going to play roles. I mean, Gigi Jackson, we don't know exactly. He's not in Penn, in Sharpie, in the 24-25 season as a 20-minute per game guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rest, I mean, you're looking at Jaren, Santi, and Vince are really the only guys, and Luke, I guess, if Luke sticks around, that you can really just say, like, okay, well, these guys played bad tonight, then I'm upset. The rest of the guys, just it's just cherry on top, Gigi had a good game last night, Wednesday night for everybody that's listening to this on a Friday. I'm not really good at that yet. I keep
me neither
referring to it, and
we're not perfect. You get what you pay for.
Everybody remember, we record this on Thursday night. Okay, we did not record. We are not live when you are watching us right now.
Yeah, so you get what you pay for.
This is last night. Okay, so anyways, and so he had a good game on Wednesday night, but the 3 or 4 games previous, he was really bad.
Really bad.
And so that's kind of the swings you get. Everybody likes to say that Gigi Jackson is our first round pick for 2024. Right. And so I'm kind of grading it on that scale here because if that is true, then this is Gigi's sophomore year in college. Right. So it's development. If you're going to say that, you've got to consider this like the most green light of development that you'll ever get out of him.
It's going to happen. You're going to have games where Gigi's great, Gigi's bad. Vince is still having those games. He's been a lot more consistent, but he still has off nights. These guys are still growing and developing. And so it's very easy as a fanatic because I'm like you, like whatever team that I'm a ride or die with whatever team that I'm cheering for. And so obviously I want to see these guys play well, but it's just I have to remember that Gigi's 19 years old. He can barely buy tobacco. Yeah. He can't buy beer yet, right? And so like these guys are young and developing. The likelihood that Jordan Goodwin's on the team next year, very little. Matt Hunt, not going to be there. Like Lamar hurt. Sorry. Welcome to the 2 Buck Sports Show.
Welcome to the 2 Buck Sports
Show. There's a good chance they're not going to be here. Like as much as I want Lamar Stevens to be there, may not be there, right? Like these guys are getting like run now. We're just seeing what we have. This team on February 28th next year is going to look, hopefully, fingers crossed, entirely different than the one we're watching right now.
And allow me to be the man on the island right now because I know everybody's off the Zaire Williams island, and rightfully so. I mean, he hasn't been very good. Mm-hmm. But Zaire Williams entered the NBA a lot like Gigi did, except Zaire had an incredible first season playing alongside Ja the whole season. Ja was healthy all season. He had a great first season. But he came in at like 18 years old. He reclassified to graduate early. Then he had a COVID year at college to where they didn't play in California hardly at all. And so my point is that he is young and he is still taking lumps. And if you look at that and if you appreciate the timeline of how long it takes players to be good and compete for championships as a contributor to a championship team, it's typically not at 20 or 21 years old that Zaire is now. And it's not going to be Gigi Jackson next year when he's 20. And it's, these guys, the difference in Vince Williams is that he was a 4-year player in college. He is 22, 23 years old. Right. It takes time.
And Drew, I need to make sure this is a safe space, right? Like this is a safe
Oh,
space.
this is a safe space.
Zaire Williams has been playing some not bad basketball.
No, now last night
I don't want to say that out loud.
Last night he had some fluky 3-point makes.
Oh, but that one from the corner, good Lord. He shot that from like the third row.
Yeah, the buzzer beater was just like, okay.
Okay.
I had the same chance of making that as he did. But it went in, so you get credit for it. And so
sure.
I was okay with moving Zaire at the deadline. However, if Zach Kleiman were to jump on this show right now and say that they are still looking at the upside of Zaire and they're looking at 3 years from now, then I get why you continue to hold on to that lottery ticket. You know what I'm saying? Sure. They're not cashing out on that ticket yet, and I get that. Sure. However, also don't expect him to like be really good in the playoffs next year, you know?
Yeah,
I
agree,
I didn't mean to get off on a Zaire Williams.
It's a good tangent to go on because it's, again, like Zaire's not going to be a Grizzly next year. I know it in my bones. If him and Jake LaRavia are gone, those boneless wings are going to be playing for somebody else. But the point remains, like, be patient with GG in these growing pains. Be patient as Vince and Lamar Stevens and Scottie Pippen, unless Goodwin comes in and takes his spot. Like, be patient with these guys because they're growing. They're young, right? And so the run that they're getting this year is going to be invaluable for next year, but they're not going to be like – Ja's going to be playing 35, 40 minutes a game when it comes down to crunch time. Jaren's going to be playing 30 to 32 minutes because the long and short of it is he'll probably be in foul trouble. Dez is going to be running 35, 40 minutes. Like, these guys are going to be getting a ton more playing time next year, especially – from this point through the rest of the season as we make that push into the playoffs next year.
And I'm sure Taylor Jenkins is the king of developers right now. And so I hope that he instills in them that they are being allowed to develop, to spread their wings, fly if you can. If you fall, that's okay. We'll try again. But next year it ain't going to be this way. You're going to play within the scheme. You're going to play alongside Ja, not in front of Ja. You know what I'm saying? These guys are coming back, and we can't have a Dylan Brooks whose rookie year he had the greenest of green lights, and for him to think that made him the leader of the team until he was gone. Like, we can't have that mindset with these guys, especially as young as they are.
Which I'm loving. I'm seeing a lot popping up on Twitter. People retweeting Rockets Twitter right now, where the Dylan Brooks honeymoon is over. They're realizing the reason we let him walk, man. First half of the season, Dylan is not there anymore. He's shooting 24, 25 times a night. He's taking the ball out of the kids' hands. Like, that's the Dylan Brooks we know and love, and that's exactly why we let him walk.
He's still crackhead Dylan Brooks, he hit rock bottom and got traded, and he sobered up, and then just a few weeks later he started itching, thinking, oh my goodness, I need to shoot some more. I want to shoot. I'm Kobe, and here we are. He got to go back to rehab.
Exactly.
I hope that wasn't too off color.
No, that was incredible. It reminds me of the Dave Chappelle meme. Like, you got any more of them open shots?
You got it. Come on, I love those contested threes.
That's it, man. I'm gonna huck it up from behind my head.
You saying a fadeaway from 18 feet? That's me.
But I got a time stripe 3. Lego. But yeah, man. God love you, Houston. You got one of our good players in Steve-O, and hey, baby girl. One of our favorite members of the Gann family there, Miss Jenny, checking in tonight. But yeah, Houston, enjoy Dylan Brooks. We're certainly glad you have him. We got a couple games, Drew. We were talking about this a bit off air. We got 2 games this weekend. Portland's in town for a back-to-back home series with us. We don't have to leave Memphis. They come and play us both times. It's kind of a catch-22. Shout out Michael Scott. Like, do we win those games because we're fans and we want to win those games? Or do we lose those games and we gain lottery position?
Yeah, so I have the standings pulled up here. I'll tell you. So we're all about lottery position at this time. Competitive tank. That's the key word. And when it comes to campaign season, that's your hot words. You got to hit every time. It's a competitive tank. We're not tanking.
No,
we're competitively putting players out there that are not very good.
We're letting Jake LaRavia. We're letting Jake LaRavia play 25 minutes on purpose.
So right now we are in 1, 2, 3, 4, 6th place, and for contenders that is 24th place. But we're tanking here, so we're in 6th place. Portland is right behind us. The Grizzlies are 4 games behind Portland in losses. Make sense?
I'm with you. I'm tracking with you.
And so if Grizzlies want to get to 5th place, they need to lose both of these games at home to Portland. That would get them 2 games back of the 5 spot. However, the con to that is that if you lose both of these games at home to Portland, nobody's coming to any more games the rest of the year. I mean,
they're going to be doing $9 promotions, the 9-on-1 promotion for every game.
Yeah, you better hope. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The John Hawaiian shirt giveaway may be the reason why a lot of these people are coming on Friday night. So
100%.
I am being a little bit too hard. I do think Grizzlies fans are appreciating what's going on right now and supporting it, knowing that it is a blip on the screen. You know, it's not real what's going on right now. It's not a reflection of the organization. I can tell, especially on social media, that the fans are trying to stay engaged despite what we expected versus what we got this season.
So, apologize.
Go buy tickets. They're only $9.01.
Yeah, I'm working on my ticket plug right then. As we're recording the show, I'm looking at the tickets trying to get that Josh shirt. So stay tuned. I might be wearing that bad boy next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like we're at that point, right? That's the best thing for us is lottery position. But is that the best thing for the organization? I don't know. You know, again, I talked about it with Luke on Tuesday. Like the Nets game was the first time that he kind of saw as a Taylor Jenkins stand. And again, I'm a fan of Coach Jenkins. We're not going to that rabbit trail and arguing on air tonight. But that was the first game where it's kind of like some of these lineups a little bit suspect.
It's fair. And it's fair to say that against a team that's struggled as bad as Brooklyn, who fired their head coach during the All-Star break. However, you can't really say, oh, we shouldn't lose to Brooklyn when we're throwing out the people that we are. You know, we're still playing Jordan Goodwin and Matt Hurt and I don't know.
Again, Jake
LaRavia. Jake LaRavia. And so it's just kind of hard to look at a lineup and say we should beat them. You know,
yeah.
I mean, that Brooklyn team, I don't really know why they're as bad as they are. Then maybe they are just extremely miscoached.
Yeah,
you know, maybe Kevin Ollie will crack the code that Jock Vaughn couldn't.
Yeah,
but like they've got Dorian Finney-Smith, they've Cam Johnson, they've got Claxton. I mean, they've got players that other teams want. So why are you so bad? I mean, I didn't even mention Mikal Bridges.
I mean, they should be more talented, but that felt like a game.
That doesn't look like a lineup that I have a problem with losing to. However, I watched it and saw how we played, and then I was mad. You know.
And if I looked at the first. Right. If I look at the first week back from the All-Star break, that game of the like the Portland games, yes, but that game's a winnable game. Like probably not beating the Clips, not beating Minnesota, but that felt like a game we should have won. Just looking at it on paper and looking at how the teams are playing,
of course,
and they beat us worse than either the Clippers or the Timberwolves did. I mean, they blew us out. That game was not competitive. They were playing Arlington High School out there, is what it felt like. Not the competitive team that we saw Wednesday night against Minnesota. Look at that. I'm getting better already. Yeah.
Brooklyn is only 2.5 games behind us in the tank race, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't believe they own their pick either.
I don't think so.
I don't think they own their pick. And so, anyways, you got anything Grizzlies wise before we wrap this segment up, get to a break and start talking about just I don't know, whatever else we want to talk about.
We may even just go off the reservation or off the rails, whatever. I don't know if I can say reservation anymore. We'll go off the rails and see what comes out.
Sorry, you're not the one that's on the reservation.
That's all I got, man. So we'll go ahead and go to break. While you're here, if you're still listening to this tomfoolery, why? I don't know. But if you are, go ahead and click subscribe. Turn those notifications on while you're on YouTube so you can get this show along with all the other great shows from this network weekly. We'll see y'all on the other side of the commercial break.
I'm just big on being able to vocalize what someone's role is. I always thought my best coaches were the people that let me know exactly what you expect from me. Now, I might not like it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right. But if you come to me man to man to say, This is how we think we're gonna play you. Bang, bang, bang. And hopefully everybody understand. I'm not saying that this has not been done with this team. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying from my experience, we all have egos when we get to this game.
Right.
All of us. To the last person on the bench, you got an ego. But all of us can't be the man.
Yeah.
You got to be able to say, okay, he's the man, but what do I do and what can I do to help us be good? And if it's vocalized to you, then you know exactly and if I'm out there doing it and now I'm not getting the result from you, now we got to sit down and have another conversation. Mm-hmm. But as long as it is told to you, this is what we expect from you, this is how we want you to play, then I feel like, again, keeping this logo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. All right, Christian.
Yes.
You are Penny Hardaway.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Today, you're going to play act, okay? Gabe, because you're a Jordan Brown apologist, you're going to be Jordan Brown.
I'm a Jordan Brown apologist. Okay.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Y'all are sitting across the room from each other.
I said, don't tweet him hate. And he's like, you're an apologist. Like, good God. But either way, continue. We're in a room together.
Why did things break down?
Jordan, we brought you in this year to be the centerpiece of our offense. You came in out of shape. Let's call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. We play fast. Told you this when we were recruiting you. We play fast. One of the fastest paces in the country. You have to be able to get up and down the floor. You have failed at that.
Oh, well, I'm leaving. So it's fine. Cool.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of the 2 Bucks Sports Show, where you're just going to get whatever comes out. We're doing this live. We do a little show doc every week for the show, and we usually will put some notes throughout the week, but Drew's been otherwise occupied with what? I don't know. Who even knows what's going on down there? I haven't looked at it either. Been otherwise occupied.
Our show doc said opening, Grizzlies, other.
That's it. All right, we're gonna see what happens. So we will talk college baseball because we are trying to hashtag grow the game, even though it's not been growing very well in the state of Mississippi, especially for that team in Oxford. Not that we've been a whole lot better, but we did. Hey, as of the recording of this show, we just
stay where you're at.
We just beat Mount St. Mary's today, 12-2, the powerhouse of the NAIA or whatever they are.
Hey, they're T1.
I guess they are.
They're in the tournament. They're in the basketball tournament every year. That's the reason why I know who they are.
There you go. That's true. But we beat them 12-2 today. We got a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series this weekend.
I was wondering why y'all were playing today.
Yeah, went 2 out of 3.
I meant to say earlier, we were talking about Grizzlies draft. I'm totally in on Reed Shepherd with the 6th pick. Thoughts?
Oh, yeah. I'd rather have Dalton Connect. We're moving on.
Man, Rusty.
No, I hear you.
You love Reed Shepherd.
God, why are we talking about this? I wasn't going to bring that up. I wasn't going to bring up X, bad-mouthing us with us now that he's with the Boston Celtics. Was going to leave that alone. But why are we opening up these sore places? Oh, yeah. He came out and said just about an hour ago, that Memphis is dancing and turnt, I believe is what he said, before every game. And it took every ounce of effort and injury luck to be the 2 seed. Boston is way more mature and has not reached their full success because they have not given full effort yet.
He's already hit that,
bro.
That big market elitist mindset.
X, we've been your fan, man. We've been in your corner this whole time.
I'm sorry that you don't want to have fun. I'm sorry that we weren't boring while we were winning.
It's like the whole argument that everybody's hyping up Oklahoma City for doing the same thing we've been doing for years. It's cool now that Oklahoma City and Shane all them are doing this. Like, we were doing it first, and y'all gave us crap for it.
I'm sorry that there's not a parade inside your city every time y'all win.
That's it, man. It's just jealousy, man.
Y'all got to act like you've been here before and not enjoy things.
How can you hate from outside the club? You can't even get in, man. Get out of here. Anyway, moving right along. Mississippi State starting to turn it around. Kind of got a good performance today from Nate Dome. Thursday got a great performance from Nate Dome. Won a baseball game. Otherwise, not a lot to be excited about. Bats have been cold. last year it was pitching. This year pitching's been much better. We can't hit. We went 2 out of 3 against Georgia Southern. Lost 2 in the midweek last week to Austin P, who just no business losing to Austin P in the midweek, man. I understand it's early. It was cold. We're still figuring out rotations. Lamonis is on very, very thin ice. I've got a friend here in Martin who's very, very close and connected to the baseball program at Mississippi State, and there's a lot of grumblings that it's going to take a super regional appearance if he's going to be back next year, just because the talent we have on this team is way too much and way too good to be losing 2 games to Austin P in a midweek. There's just no reason we should be doing that.
Midweek losses are what will crumble you.
100%.
Just as they're playing small teams, it can only go one way. You either win and you're just like, okay, we should have beat them, or you're competitive, or lose and it's just outrage. It's never celebration when you beat Austin P, or you beat High Point, or you beat Little Rock. However, if you lose to them or you play competitive to them, you're gonna have to answer some questions. And so it's Ole Miss's thing, and this is a lot of people. Memphis Tigers fans hate Ole Miss, and I get it.
Can relate,
because Ole Miss is just like, say, we're never playing Memphis again. It's because Ole Miss is like, okay, we're in the SEC. We have nothing to gain from playing Memphis, who is really good for the American. So we gain nothing from beating them, and we risk everything if we lose to them. It's kind of the same mindset when you talk about SEC midweek games. Like, it's a risk playing, because if you lose it, it's gonna look really bad, and if you win, you get nothing.
And rightfully so, because Drew, like, we play at Florida this year, we play at Vanderbilt, we play at LSU. Like, we've got some tough SEC, series coming up. That these midweek games are how you buffer and get to the tournament. Like, you have to win these games. You can't be losing these games and then go get swept by Vanderbilt on the weekend. You can't be losing to these small directional schools and then go get swept by Florida, because you're not going to make the SEC tournament.
If you go 15-15 in the SEC, if you go 15-15 in the SEC and you've got bad losses in the midweek against non-conference or D2, lower level schools, then you don't stand a chance to get into the tournament.
No.
So it's the same reason why, and it's the RPI is so important in baseball. What the RPI used to be important in basketball, now it's the net. Well, they still use the RPI in baseball. And so it's all looks at your losses, or the teams who you've played lose to. Like, it's all losses. It's the reason why Ole Miss never makes it to the NCAA tournament in 22 if they don't cancel. They just straight up canceled their last midweek game of the season against Arkansas State, because even if they played them, Arkansas State was so bad that they would have dropped their RPI, even in a win. And so that all that to say, this is quote unquote preseason non-conference play in baseball. It's just to show you what you hope isn't, but could be important games when you look back at it. You just can't lose them. Ole Miss,
100%. I mean, real quick, I just want to add. I mean, you're absolutely right, because like Ole Miss punched their ticket this week to the NIT tournament. Not even going to make the NIT. Not even going to make the NCAA tournament with that huge come from behind win for Alabama. Chris Beard guided them directly to the NIT.
Yeah, I was going to get to that in a minute. I'm not skirting that. We're going to get to that in a minute. And so, but Ole Miss, kind of what you felt like against Mississippi State, where you won the series this weekend. Ole Miss kind of, when we recorded last Thursday night for a Friday show, I was in the dumps. You just lost a midweek game at home, your home opener to Arkansas State. Friday night they go out and they get beat 7-3 by High Point, the alma mater of one Tubby Smith. For folks that are listening to this, I believe last I heard he is went back to coach the basketball team there at High Point.
I think that's right.
And baseball is about momentum, especially on offense when the bats get rolling. And Ole Miss won 12-2 on Saturday in 7 innings, and 25-2 in 7 innings on Sunday. And so, like I said last week on the show, these are teams that you want to be playing 7 innings against. That's how you feel confident in a win. You beat them in 7 innings. Then the Ole Miss played last night, being Wednesday night against Little Rock, won 12-6. And so, in a game that is so much about momentum and so much about being hot at the right time, you like to see big numbers in your column and small numbers in the other column, and you finish the series. The last 2 games of the series this weekend against High Point, winning 37-4.
Much
and
better.
you only played 14 innings. So I mean, you're good. Now, Ole Miss is going to have its first test of the year. Iowa comes to town this weekend to play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Iowa was ranked. They did just get swept though last weekend against a pretty good team. I'm trying to remember who it was.
It was a pretty good little mid-major because they were like a dark horse for Omaha before the season. A lot of people were saying they're going to be better, and then they got worked by.
Ole Miss, if you remember, won the Big Ten last year. Ole Miss went 7-0 or 8-0 last year against the Big Ten in 2 different tournaments that they played in. They just only played Big Ten school. No, they played one tournament where they played Nebraska, Minnesota, and Maryland, and one other team. They went 4-0, all against the Big Ten, and then they had a home series against Maryland that they swept.
Yeah, it was Wichita State. Wichita State beat Iowa after they lost to
Wichita
Virginia
State's
and
good.
Auburn. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, historically good, and they've had a resurgence here. So
Right.
you don't want to see them get swept, but because I want them to come to Oxford and be more of a statement if you win it. If you don't, who cares?
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's what Ole Miss is looking forward to this weekend. Just hoping to stay hot, and we'll see what happens. I mean, the story is far from written for both of our teams and for most teams in the country. You just don't know anything in baseball. A season that's 60 games, you just don't know anything after 8.
Especially not in February. You won't really know anything about your team until SEC play starts in about a month. So,
right. So, I did want to. You brought it up. I brought it up. I kind of stabbed you real quickly, and you kind of try to bring it back in and stab me. And so I did want to mention this. It was not in our show doc because we didn't spend any time on a show doc, but I did. It is actually something I wanted to talk about. We'll just go chronologically if that's okay with you. If not, we'll talk about Ole Miss first. Anyway,
chronologically is fine.
So chronologically, State played Kentucky. Ole Miss and State, if you go back a week, were extremely bubbly. You were looking at both teams being within the first 4 in and the last 4 out. Extremely bubbly.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss in the first year under Chris Beard, Mississippi State second year under Chris Jans, both doing really good. I mean, for Mississippi State, adding the guard,
Josh Hubbard is the
Josh
real
Hubbard
deal.
has absolutely changed that team. A team that was lucky to score 40 points last year, but the other teams were lucky to score 30.
Right.
Adding Josh Hubbard is really taking the lid off of
bucket.
Yeah, he is so good. But that Kentucky game, if you didn't watch that game, go back and watch. I mean, the second half of that basketball game was electric. The shot making, especially by Reed Shepherd, he should have went to Duke, right? He is like he looked. I don't know what it is about a white guard that they just feel like they should go to Duke.
He reminds me of John Shire, the coach at Duke. Just a bucket, just could get to the goal, and he just took over in that second half.
He was amazing in that.
And
game.
Hubbard was matching him step for step. I mean, Hubbard finished with 34 again, and just just bucket after bucket of unbelievable. And then he buries that 3 with like 10 seconds to go, and it's like, this is it. We're getting the monkey off our back and beating Kentucky, and then Reed Shepherd happens.
Yeah. So State has a huge lead. When I turned it on, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to hear about this.
I was at Taco Tuesday with my coworker Craig and my buddy Lee, and I looked up at the TV and I was like, I don't want to say it out loud, but this basketball game is going well for one of these 2 teams.
And so it was like they'd gotten it up to like a, 15, 17 point lead.
It was like
and
15,
and then second half, Kentucky, who Ole Miss played Alabama last night, and they said it on the broadcast. Kentucky had just scored 100, or after this, or before the State game, I guess, had scored 119 points against Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that team just got hot in the second half in Starkville, which I'll credit where credit's due. That's got to be like the most hostile place to play. If you couple that arena with that defense, because defense at home, that defense at home is just, oh my God, it's crippling.
And Kentucky fans have been going on. This was their Super Bowl, whatever. That was our 8th sellout of the year. That was our 8th sellout. So like, it was a raucous crowd. It was capacity crowd, and it was like watching it on TV was electric. And that they were into that game. It was awesome.
I hate when teams say that. When the blue bloods like, oh, that's our Super Bowl, you know. Like,
bro, you're sellout number 8. That's all you are.
I mean, Kentucky is a big deal. Beating Kentucky is a big deal.
Yes.
Anybody would be foolish to say that it would. Like, no State fans should say that, oh, we treated that game just like we treated the home game against Vandy. Like, no, you didn't.
Right. No, you didn't.
Like, there's a different level of intensity there, and that's why. But Kentucky, in particular, you ain't never won nothing. Not in like since Cat was there.
Right.
You know, that was the undefeated team that didn't even win it.
Yeah.
And so, what was it? Anthony Davis and John Wall that won it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the last time you won anything. So, just quit trying to diminish the atmosphere at a smaller school that doesn't have the history you have.
Yeah, man.
Because you think you're up here. Like,
yeah. Like, that was an incredible crowd. And it was number 8, it sellout number 7 or 8. Either way, like, it was still like, it was a great crowd that we had for Arkansas, that we had for these other Alabama at home. Like, we've had some great crowds. Tennessee, we beat Tennessee. That crowd was just as electric, just as full. We beat Tennessee in Starkville as it was Tuesday night against Kentucky. But credit where credit's due. Reed Shepherd had a phenomenal second half, made the big bucket with no time left, and Kentucky
had the block in the corner, and then the winner. Like,
we are now 1-19 against John Calipari, the only win coming in the SEC tournament in 2019. Here's hoping that maybe lightning will strike twice. We'll get them again in the SEC tournament this year. But we're that team you don't want to play in the SEC tournament.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
We're just scrappy,
because
man.
It's like the old grit and grind Grizzlies. It's like it takes an extra level of commitment and buy-in against a team that you don't, a team that the jerseys don't make you shake in your boots. And so it's like you've got to take them seriously and then up a notch, because that defense is just crippling. Hopefully it translates for your sake. It translates to neutral site games as well, because in Starkville, that place is hard to play with that defense.
It is, man. And then, we cared, like you said, we're not afraid. We carried on the road. We went to LSU, won by 20. Like, this team is not afraid.
You went to
Ole
Miss, and Ole Miss hung almost 90 on you. So, I mean, of course, that was a pretty rough environment too. But
anyway. Early. But last thing I'll say, State as a team, like, we're growing. This is not a bad loss. It's a loss to Kentucky. Like, we still have some winnable games ahead of us. And then when you play us in a tournament, like, even if you win, you're going to be tired going forward, because you had to put in effort that you wouldn't have to put in, because we start defending you when you get off the bus. And not only that, but now you also have to defend us, because if not, Josh Hubbard is going to hang a 40-piece on you real quick, fast, and in a hurry. And so it's not the team of last year where our best shooters, TJ Jeffries, God almighty, and Tolo Smith has kind of fallen off the face of the earth. If he can ever get it put together between him and Josh Hubbard, we are not the ones that you want to mess with. That is for sure.
All right, so I'm just looking at the bracket real quick. I want to kind of talk my way.
So we were still sitting at like a 9 seed.
That's what I was just looking for. Joe Lunardi has Mississippi State in the 8-9 seed playing Nebraska. Winner gets Houston or South Dakota State. If there's another 16v1 upset. He has Ole Miss in the next 4 out. So not the first 4 out, but the next 4 out.
They're gonna need some help in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, no doubt. And so Ole Miss was looking good. They were in the, last 4 in conversation. They'd even snuck up to like the 8-9 line there for a minute. But they've had 3 straight losses here. They lost to Mississippi State. They lost at home to South Carolina in an ugly game. And then last night, Wednesday night for everybody else, they played Alabama at home. Alabama had a horrible start to the game, and Ole Miss kind of caught fire, got up to about a 12, 15, 16-point lead. But that lead was virtually gone. It was 3 at halftime with a Alabama making a strong push right there at the half. They get hot. I mean, Alabama's a good team.
They
They've
can
only
shoot,
got 3
yeah.
losses in the ACC. And then the second half they came out and it didn't go well. Ole Miss fought just to keep it close. Ended up being about a double-digit game at the end. And so it basically puts the nail. Yeah, okay. So it basically puts the nail in the Ole Miss coffin without a real significant run in the SEC tournament. We're talking like championship game level run in the SEC tournament. Just because the rest of your schedule doesn't look that great. I'd have to look it up. I don't have it on hand.
But you don't finish very favorably, that's for sure.
No. I saw where Mississippi State has like one of the hardest schedules in the league to end it, and so that leaves you with a lot of opportunity to really solidify your spot there in the tournament. Without in the 64 team tournament without much of a show at Mississippi.
Ole Miss plays at Missouri, at Georgia, A&M at home is your last 3 games.
Okay, so
awful.
A&M at home is a must-win. Obviously, A&M was their first team out of the tournament. Missouri's pathetic, and you'd have to familiarize me with.
Georgia's not great. Georgia.
Okay.
Not great. They're middle of the pack, middle to lower pack of the East. State,
Probably
like to your point,
on par.
State plays at Auburn, at A&M, and then South Carolina comes to Starkville. So we've got that's tough.
That's a tough schedule.
That's tough.
And so listen, it's hard for me. I'm not doing a post-mortem on Ole Miss yet on basketball, but it's hard for me to be upset given where we were at last year and this year off-season hiring Chris Beard, and it's virtually, you had a couple transfers, one big transfer, actually several big transfers coming in off the portal with Musa Cisse and Alan Flanagan from Auburn. I didn't really expect much because my expectations were so low coming off of what was just an absolutely putrid season last year. However, when you get up and you start seeing your name in the bracket, you are a little disappointed that you couldn't hold on to it. Although, if you ask me, this is about where I thought Ole Miss would be going into the season. And so just perspectives change. Angles in which you look at a season throughout the season change. But if I just look at start of season to now, it kind of seems about right. And I'm not tuned in as much as I used to be on message boards and stuff. I do have some friends that are. What will upset me is there's apparently in weeks previous it was hotter than now, but rumors of Chris Beard leaving, and the path, and it's not that he's looking out per se, because I do think Ole Miss has done a good job, just like they did with Lane, with supplying him with resources, giving him a reason to stay. I mean, there's rumors that Eric Musselman will go to Louisville, and that opens up the Auburn job where he is from. Arkansas. I'm sorry. Yeah, he is from Arkansas. His first major coaching job, if you remember the upset, was at the University of Little Rock. And then so it's a job that's kind of a no-brainer with resources, with history that I hate to see him take, but you know, and then that would have Ole Miss hiring Will Wade, which cannot imagine myself rooting for Will Wade.
That sucks.
But, that would hurt. But anyways, that would be a way to really cut me off at the knees.
Yeah.
After a first competitive basketball season we've had in 5 years.
Yeah, in a hot minute. But yeah, Drew, that's all I got for tonight. Yeah. That's all I got for tonight. I know you've got to go. Well, you don't. Haley's got to go have a baby. Yeah. It's go time, man. Like, this is it.
It's go time. Bags are packed.
Dad times 2, man. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. So, thoughts and prayers are appreciated. We will keep you when we decide it is appropriate for us to share pictures of the baby boy. They will be on our social media. Check out our Instagram. And couldn't be more excited to have a little boy. I never thought, me and Haley were talking about it on the way to the doctor today. It still doesn't seem right that it's a boy, because we'd all just kind of been numb to the fact that we're just going to have girls. And I don't know why it was. It just always felt like we were just going to be girls. And I was cool with that as long as we got to keep Braxton. As long as I got him, I'm good. And it's still stunned. I told her dad, I was like, I'm still at 2% nervous that we're going to have a surprise. So, anyway, but we are excited. Thoughts and prayers appreciated for Mama. I'm good. So, just we'll keep everybody posted. Rusty, thank you for accommodating me. Thank your dog for us for allowing you to get off work a little early so this can happen. And you didn't have to solo this show. I told him to get his jokes ready for his stand-up comedy act, and so luckily we didn't have to deal with that.
Let's just say this is going to be a much better show because if I'm here, everybody's definitely going to want a refund. That's for sure. If I'm here by myself.
Yeah, and you don't get any refunds with the $2 Sports Show because you always get what you pay for.
That's it.
See you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.